The Deification of Man by Cecilia Siegel. Art has always been inspired by the gods. Whether natural, anthropomorphic, or divine, humanity has constantly attempted to depict supernatural forces. But humans can't directly talk to these gods. So come forth heralds, shamans, prophets, and leaders that act as a window into the divine. In some ways, they could be seen as deities in their own right. Some claimed they were descended from gods. Some claimed they had seen gods. Others claimed they were gods. And still others were given the title of God. Join me as we explore the deification of man. In ancient Egyptian life, the pharaoh was considered the son of Horus, the falcon god of the sun. When we look at depictions of Pharaoh, he is almost always idealized, the perfect specimen. In King Tutankhamun's case, he was encased in gold and precious stone upon his death, showing how revered he was by his people. And of course they would revere him. He was a deity. In imperial Rome, Caesar was a mere king, but upon his return from a successful battle, he would be lauded as none other than the living embodiment of the might of Mars, the god of war. The Augustus of Prima Porta is depicted as a looming figure above the Roman people. But what is interesting about this statue is the Cupid and dolphin at his leg. These are both symbols associated with Venus, who Augustus and his father Julius claimed was their ancestor. Again, we see a human being regarded as a sort of deity. Here, in Virgin and Child between Saints Theodore and George, we see Jesus, the Son of Man, with a halo of gold around his head. However, we also see his human mother and two other human saints with that same golden halo, putting them at a similar level of holiness. Here we see the reliquary of Saint Foy. A piece of her remains are encased in a container made of gold and precious gems. This mirrors the treatment of King Tutankhamun's remains, showing that level of reverence which it seems only holy figures receive. The School of Athens showcases a host of intellectuals, all human, but all now depicted like Greek gods and goddesses atop Mount Olympus. Plato and Aristotle discuss the heavens and the earth, and among them walk other ancient Greek philosophers, all who had lived in different times, implying that this scene might be an afterlife, an immortalized place of discussion for the greatest minds in human history. This statue of George Washington was designed to recall the classic marble statues of ancient Greece and Rome. We see Washington posed in the contrapposto style, much like Augustus of Prima Porta, and his regality recalls the ancient statue to mind as well. In this way, Washington is being regarded as a deity of sorts, as if implying that Washington was given the same qualities that Augustus was given. Gustav Klimt uses the gold leaf of the Byzantine era, in The Kiss, to deify not a human person, but love itself. Much like the Greeks personified and deified love in Aphrodite, Klimt has given this embrace a holy significance by adorning and surrounding it in gold. Finally, Andy Warhol's Marilyn diptych depicts Marilyn Monroe on a diptych. Diptychs up until this point were used exclusively as altarpieces in Christian churches. By putting Marilyn on one, Warhol has called attention to her significance in culture, and to the almost religious following of her, both while she was alive and following her death.